area. Chris and Glenn, you were both in Sofia on Monday night. Chris, you were sat on the bench as part of England's coaching staff. When did it become apparent to you that something was happening that was untoward in the stands?
Well, as the game progressed, every time one of the black players for England, you could hear the isolated noises coming from the stands. But what I would say is we were fully prepared for it. We planned for it. Gareth showed real good leadership leading up to the week, and everyone was briefed on how we should handle the whole situation, and that's how it panned out.
And the protocol was followed, implemented well, but you know, a few people will say, would have been a bigger statement if the players walked off.
Yeah, I understand that, and you know, we knew we wouldn't please everyone, but I felt, and we felt, and Gareth did, and everyone who was part of the FA players and staff, we felt we shouldn't go off what was needed, and what was needed was followed by us, and that was the protocol set down by UEFA, and we felt if we stuck to that, it was still going to be a big moment anyway, because it's never been done. And actually, we're talking about it, and we can see what will happen in the future. We've had players in Italy walk off, but the team hasn't. But we felt we needed to do exactly what was implemented by UEFA, and that's what we did.
And Glenn, you were in the commentary box, so you were there and experienced the atmosphere. How hostile was it?
Yeah, as Chris was saying, it was more sort of isolated, really. It wasn't like there was 50,000 in the stadium. It was probably only 12,000 there. So it was more isolated, and you could hear it more. And that, it was disgusting, you know, it was dreadful to hear, it really was. But I think, like Chris, I think the team and Gareth and England got the balance right. Yeah. I think if they'd have walked off, perhaps they would have been they turned it into they were the villains. And I think the balance of it is there. Everyone knows now the next step, the third step, will be a team coming off. And let's hope it isn't England. But and you've got to do it in unity. You can't do it individually. Players have tried to do it in Italy individually and got punished themselves. So it has to be done by a team. And I thought England, you know, got the tone absolutely spot on. And it was a proud moment to see them play on as well. Because if one player just had to say, I can't deal with this, we've got to come off, then obviously that is a problem then, and the whole team would have come off.
And we knew that could happen, but actually the build-up to the game, during the training week at St George's, and then we went to Czechoslovakia, we just felt that it had to be unified. It had to be everyone together, the staff. The black players knew they had support from the FA. It was brilliantly put together. Gareth, I thought, was exemplary with his behaviour leading up to it, and the players and the staff on the night, because it could have got out of hand quite easily, but everyone was very calm. We knew exactly what we needed to do, and, you know, we did it.
And Jermaine, in terms of a response, it's come a long way since you were playing, where you experienced similar chants from the crowd as well.
I think in terms of it coming a long way, it is very much kind of those protocols that have been put in place, the actual feeling that players do have, what's not an opportunity, but they have options, I suppose is the big word, because I think when I experienced probably the biggest one, it was when we played Spain in the Bernabeu, and it was ridiculous on that night. I mean, Sean Wright-Phillips, Emil Heskey were getting, you know, it was some of the worst monkey chanting I've ever come across in my life, and players were just kind of looking at each other like, what do we do? You know, Sean Wright-Phillips tried to, you know, continually kind of obviously play his game and concentrate on playing for England, but there's no doubt in my mind that it was all in his head, because it was in my head whilst the game was going on. So, but there wasn't any steps, and even afterwards when we went into the dressing room, it was just very much a kind of, that was a weird, that was weird type thing, rather than, right, what are now the steps for, you know, to not make this happen again? So it's nice that the players do have this ability now to come together and have that decision. What I've always thought, though, Chris, is what if the players would have walked off the pitch, for example, what then happens with regards to UEFA? What then happens with regards to the points in the game? What actually happens if the player goes, I can't deal with this, and we're walking off the pitch?
That's a good question, because it's never happened.
That's what I mean. What is it?
UEFA obviously have said the first time it happens, speak to the fourth, the captain and the manager. He notifies the referee, tannoy. Second, same again, but then the referee can take you off. Now, I know everyone's saying, well, you never came off the second time it happened. Well, it was a decision that there was 4 minutes to go to half-time. If we'd come off, been off for 15 minutes, then go back on for 4 minutes, then off again. So that's why we carried on and we had the natural break, and in those 15 minutes there was talks in the tunnel, etc., and obviously in the dressing room. Third time, could have come off. Now, I would expect then UEFA to make a decision on what happens. As I've said, it's never happened before.
That's the problem, isn't it? There's
Well,
no actual definitive,
I'm not sure there'd be a problem.
This is what happens.
I don't think there's a problem. I think they would look at the situation, look at the current state of the game, who's winning, etc., who's in trouble, and then I think they'll go from there. Yeah. But it's never happened, so obviously that would be the next big step on what happens.
Personally, though, I just feel that if I'm in a workplace now and I start making monkey chants, what's going to happen? Would you accept it? Absolutely not. You'd get up and you'd make a complaint straight away. Personally, I feel the team should have walked off because UEFA don't do anything. There's nothing. What's a £20,000 fine? What's stopping fans going to a ground? It doesn't affect anything. It's not enough. You have to take bigger action. I think if you'd have walked off the pitch, our discussion this morning would have been completely different. Now we're still in the same situation. What do we do next time? Why don't we walk off the pitch? Why do we have to take 3 steps to do this? I just think...
I don't think we're in the same position. I think we've moved on from... Certainly when I was playing, players had to accept it.
No, but I'm talking from the
JJ's
last game. From the game now, the 3-step rule.
Yeah, but
it's not going to move on from that unless someone walks off the pitch and makes a real stance against it.
But it's the first time we went into a game knowing that UEFA had set some guidelines down. And that sort of has been around for nearly 10 years, believe it or not. But it's been brought to the front, and it was like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. Now, if it did happen, it happened. And I understand what you're saying, Stephen, but it didn't. The balance was right, and that's down to England. That's down to the players and Gareth and everybody to make that key decision. They could have walked off, but they didn't. So we are one further down the road. And I think the next time it happens, everyone knows in the world now. You know, everybody in the world knows you're coming off. And if that happens, then what are the penalties? What's going to happen after that is another question. So I think there's a process that needs to be done. For me, football's got an opportunity. What England did is given us an opportunity to actually go that stepping stone a little bit further. It's going to take time. This is an educational thing. This isn't just football. It's an educational thing in every country around the world. We've still got our own house to put in order. So let's not, throw too many stones out there. But it's a good stepping stone to progress this.
And Chris, just finally, take us into the dressing room at full time. What was the atmosphere like amongst the players? Obviously, they got the victory, but actually the night was overshadowed by the events we've just discussed.
Well, to be honest with you, when Gareth came in, he said there's 2 sides to this. It's how he was so proud of how everyone dealt with the situation. And, of course, the football side as well, because it was 6-0, could have been 10. Played very well on the night. I know Bulgaria, not the greatest team in the world, but on the back of losing on Friday, he was really proud of the response. And actually, the players, there was a real unity amongst everyone. It was a real seminal moment for me in the game at international level and with regards to racism. It's a massive moment. I think people are underplaying it a little bit because no one's ever done it before. And we've done it as a nation, we've done it as an international team, and hopefully things will come from it, as Stephen's talking about, and he's right in what he's saying. But there was a real togetherness, and everyone was so pleased afterwards that actually we stuck to what we said we would do, and hopefully now something positive will come from it.